you to do Biden. Now we done lost a damn vote. We done lost a vote. That's gonna go to Trump. God damn.
I mean, when you mention black people, you mentioning black women. So don't count yourself out.
No, that's not true.
Hello, my IBMOR brothers. I actually talked about some of this on the Code Breakers yesterday. The Code Breakers don't come on very often, and so when I see a Code Breaker sighting, I usually jump in if I can. Like they say, they stay on the outer rim, and they just hit a light speed jump, and they jump in every now and then to chit-chat with the people on Coruscant, and then before the Mandalorians can figure out where they are, they get in the Falcon and jump back out. But we got on the subject of what's wrong with black people, and especially black men. And earlier that day, I had a thought about what it means for black men to heal, as the masculine mercenaries are really on this kick about healing. So I got in my head, if I was going to get to the nitty-gritty of the problem about black males, black men healing, I said, where is the core of this angst, the core of this issue with black men in their inner core? I'm not talking about all the other stuff that we say that we are or we aren't. The inner core. What is wrong with the inner core in our population, in our society, in our little bubble of 20 million black males? Because we are unique. We live in a counterculture. We are the epitome of counterculture, and nothing in black America works the same way everybody else works, which is probably why we're most studied all over the world and the biggest curiosity all over the world. But we'll get into that another time, because I don't want this ramble to explode into an hour, and I've done that. I've done that before. I haven't done it in a while, but I've done that. But to get to the meat of this video, as one of my brothers actually said, the core problem is, or the core issue is, black men being lovable, black boys being lovable. It's an issue with men, period, but men are oft seen as objects. Women always say they're objectified, but men are oft seen as objects, and black men are doubly that, because we are seen as objects in more ways than one. And every time I counsel or talk to or interact with brothers, even way before this ever got to YouTube, hell, back when I was 17, 18 years old, this issue always came up amongst my friends and my best friends, and even into my 20s with people around me, co-workers and associates and stuff like that, is the issue, are we truly loved? Do the people around us, especially the women around us, really love us? Now, with women date, they are objectified for sex, and that's one of the issues that they have to figure out. Is the man here because he loves me and because I'm lovable? Or is he here just to partake of my body and move on? But I've never heard any female, even, most females, not all, I can't say all, it's never all, but I've never heard any female that didn't think she was lovable. Even the most ugliest, disgusting female I've seen never thought that she was unlovable. And the thing with the average at best girl, she might not thought she was pretty enough or desirable, which is, I think, what most women crave. It's not necessarily to be lovable or loved, but to be desired. Since men have so many ways to be desired in this society, whether it's for sex, whether it's for money, whether it's for looks, whether it's for, especially for black men, for sex, for that irresistible thing we call swag, which is a word I've always grown to hate, because The word swag means swagger, and the word swagger came from athletes. And I remember when the word actually got out into mainstream, because all the guys that are athletes know exactly what they mean when they talk about swagger. Really, what it meant is to have confidence. It's really all it really is. People actually overuse the word swag to mean something else, but basically all it meant is to walk with confidence. And the athletes actually brought it into the vernacular, especially Reggie Jackson, because they always said the big guys, the high-profile athletes, the ones that make all the money, and the reason you want them on your team because they have the swag, they have the swagger. They have the supreme confidence that they're going to win, supreme confidence to actually perform through adversity. And that got out into the black community as swagger, and then it got shortened into swag. But that's the etymology of where swag came into the black community. But being that maybe women want that confidence in a man. But that's the thing, that's an object. And I see black men define themselves as objects. How they look, how many women they can please, how much money they have, how they can take care of their families, how they can perform as fathers, can they raise successful children, what kind of business do they have, on and on and on and on and on. They see themselves as objects. They talk about themselves as objects. And if you can't be an object, then what are you? I had a brother on, I think it was a Roger Report. We're going back and forth, and we're talking about class or high value or whatever that is. Even high value is an objectified word that we argue about. We were going back and forth about it. And first thing he said is that I don't care about a high value, how much the guy makes or what kind of position he has, is because I can still sleep with his wife or his girlfriend. She'll creep off and she'll sleep with me and she'll have sex with me like they're getting something. They're not getting something, they're giving something, which is something that the old players taught me. Even as recently as Dr. E.R. Scott said the exact same thing, that in the business that he's in, he attracts a lot of other people's wives, and they will slip off while the husband's out of town or where the husband's busy and go sleep with him. And he demands that they bring something of value, not necessarily money, but something to eat, something, whatever, right? Just can't come over because he wants some value. He's not going to be used as an object, as a concubine, without getting some value. I always tell that to guys that sleep with more than a couple of women. Either those women are yours, or if they're not, and you're going to be sleeping with a bunch of them, you got to get some value. And the reason that we don't see value in what we give out or the value in the things that we perform is because we don't think we have intrinsic value without all that stuff, by being a human being, by being a person in this society. If you have nothing, nobody's going to want you. They're going to throw you on the street. Because in society, especially in the black community, they will always take a black woman in. She can be childless, she can be old, she can be useless, she can be used for nothing else except being a person, being a woman. And a woman will always see value in her just because she is. They will see her as lovable just because she is. Men, especially black men, especially our women, don't see us as lovable, as valuable just because we are. Now, I can't remember who said it, whether it was Valdez. I think it was Valdez, but it could have been Dr. Johnson. Well, I do think it was Valdez. He said black men are always measured against what they didn't do, not what they did. Or are we a successful object or not? And how we can be a better object. Similar thing in the white community. All those Confederate statues and flags are celebrating the men that fought and got defeated. Green Guerrilla has pointed that out multiple times. Multiple times. Those are the men that lost. Those are the men that got shamed. Those are the men that got oppressed upon by the Northerners. And to this day, they are still held in high regard by their women. And white women see their men and their boys as lovable intrinsically. They don't demand that their men get put in prison and locked behind cages because they're a dope addict, because they're on the street. Because if you're a member of their group, they intrinsically love you because you're a member of their group, not necessarily because you have value as an object. Even though white men complain about it, that they sometimes don't feel loved or loved in the way that they think they should from a woman, but they never complain about not feeling lovable. Even one of the most successful black men, Robert F. Smith, even he describes himself as an object, a tool. And even when he is criticized, now, he's a billionaire, he's done things for the community, and he is still criticized for what he didn't do. He's not held in high regard. He's not held as lovable, intrinsically lovable. And I think that's what's wrong with men, with all men, with black men especially, because we're never seen as lovable, intrinsically lovable, even for ourselves, even amongst ourselves. I know I struggled with it. In all my relationships, the first thing, try to figure out, why is she with me? Is it the way I look? Is it the way I have sex? Is it a lifestyle that she sees? Do I entertain her? Am I of value to her? Not am I intrinsically lovable? And I think if we're going to heal black men, I think we have to teach them that even if it's just you, even if it's just your own self, black men have to start with self-love, not self-pride. I think we've cornered the market in that, whether it's false or real. We are always looking for self-pride, popping our collar. But I'm talking about the other side, self-love. Even if you have nothing, you still love who you are. You think that you're valuable with just who you be because you're a member of the society, because you're a member of the black race. As backward as it is, as hostile as it is, I think that's what we need to heal. That's what we need to get back to. Because it used to be that way. It used to be that way, even as harsh as it was, when we were with the wretches of the earth. And maybe not to the extent that other societies were, but at least back then, 100 years ago, black men felt loved by their community intrinsically. And I think that is what we're missing in this society right now, in this modern society, is black men do not intrinsically feel loved. And without that intrinsic love, self-love, it's very difficult to have self-worth. And then you're trying to build a tin man without a heart. And we're constantly impressing upon brothers in this space that you got to be this, you got to be that, you got to have swag, you got to knock down chicks, you got to earn money, you got to have six figures, you on and 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 on. You got to have an image, you got to have blah, 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 blah. When there's nothing wrong with starting at your base and believing that you are worth love and worthy of value, I should say, worthy of value and worthy of love just for being. That's what's wrong with this capitalist society. Black men have always been objects, resources for other people's gain. So much so that we have adopted that into our own psyche, to where we see ourselves through other people's lenses. And if we're going to heal the black man's psyche, heal his spirit even, starts with self-love. It starts with self-value, which is why I started both channels in the men's sector. If you look back on my early work, that's all I talked about. Not about the world valuing you. It's called valuing yourself. And the most impactful videos I've done, even though they don't get the most views, talk about valuing yourself. Valuing your light and attention means just that. So when we're talking about healing the person, if we're really going to do this, if we're really going to go down that path about healing, especially black men and black people, you have to teach them what they really are inside before the personality grows, before the personality even develops into a who. They have to talk about valuing your what you really are. You're a human being in a human society. And when I talk about valuing the human being in a human society, especially one as expensive and as great as this one, when I talk about valuing the individual inside this collective, people think I'm talking about socialism. The Chinese, as collective as they are, and as valueless as they can see human life sometimes, seemingly. I've seen Chinese people see an accident or see some kind of catastrophe, and you see thousands, hundreds, and sometimes thousands of people collect together and move a car, a truck, an object to save one life. One. Just one. In a country of 1 billion people, they come together to save one life. I've seen this. They don't wait for a truck. They don't wait for a machine. They gather together in hundreds and work together to save one life because they see value in that person. It doesn't matter if that person's a peasant, a bum on the street. It doesn't matter. And I think that black people, black men need to get back to that. Do you want to heal your men? You're going to have to teach your men to value themselves as a human being first. A black man second. And what you contribute just by being has love and has value and is to be cherished. And the first person that should love you, if nobody else does. And I've heard women tell themselves this affirmation in the mirror daily. You know, they'll tell themselves, baby, if nobody loves you, I do. They're telling themselves that. Do black men tell themselves the same thing? I have that problem. Do I look in the mirror and say, do I love myself? And it took me a very long time to learn how to do what? Love myself for what I really am, which is a human being, and I have value just by being. And then after I've established that, everything else will emanate from that. So I can be in the middle of 1,000 people and be ignored, and I'm good. Why? Because if nobody else loves me, nobody else cares about me, I do. And as long as the I in me, the emanation from the great one, the peace of God that I hold on to, loves me, then I am lovable and I am valuable. And in the sea of strangers, I know that, and I hold on to that, and that's what I embrace. That's all the ramble that I have. I may do more on it. I don't know. But that was just a thought. A small one, but a thought. And as I realized, that is something that I have been trying to transmit on my channel since day one. And as Yoda told Luke, have all that you need. No more training do you need to do. From day one, with that video, you have all that you need. With that, I'm going to bounce off of here. This is BGS out, and I'll see you guys on the next one.